morning students, welcome to my channel. In today's video we are going to learn about compilers. One of the components or one of the types of language processors, that is compilers. In the previous lecture I had already taught you about system software, and where we had seen what is an operating system, which was the main component or the main software needed to run our computer. So now apart from that we also had language processors and device drivers. So we will be covering the topic basically compilers today. Now you already know that there are three types of language processors: assemblers, compilers and interpreters. So far you only know the basic idea behind these. That is, they do the work of translating code from one form into the machine readable form. That is, they translate code into machine language code. They translate code into machine language code. So we are going to see how the work is done. Now for assemblers, we already know that assemblers used mnemonic codes, or in short also known as mnemonics. That is, they are short codes for instructions like add, subtract, multiplication, division, load, store and so on. So it was a bit easier to remember these instructions, these codes, rather than remembering their binary equivalent, that is their machine language code. So in order to just overcome the difficulties of machine level language programming, assembly level language was created, where these mnemonic codes were used to perform all the tasks, that is for programming, for coding. Now even these mnemonic codes were also not easy to work with. You had to be well proficient with a particular computer's language, and then only you would be able to work with the assembly level language, because it is also a low level programming language which communicates directly with the hardware of your computer. So machine level language and assembly level languages, they are considered to be low level languages. In order to overcome the difficulties of assembly level language, programmers came with an idea of high level languages. Now what are high level languages? All those languages which you have heard so far, like C, C++, Pascal, COBOL, Fortran, these all are, even Java, these all are examples of high level languages. That is, they make use of the common English language for programming. So because we all are already familiar with the common English language, hence it is easy for us to work with these programming languages. Now we should understand how high level languages are converted into low level languages. Assemblers, we already know how they work. They work on a one-to-one basis. That is, one assembly level instruction will correspond to one binary language instruction. So it is very easy to execute and to convert. But talking about a high level language, students, in a high level language, every instruction, for example the print function which you use in Python, it may correspond to a number of different instructions in your machine language. Hence, it will be a one-to-many correspondence between the instructions. So, in order to convert any high-level language into its corresponding machine-level language, we make use of two types of language processors. One is compilers and the other one is interpreters. So we make use of compiler and interpreter. Now today, in today's class, we are only going to discuss how compilers work. The work of both of them is the same, that they do the work of converting high level languages into machine level language, but the way of working is different in both of them. So let's start with how compilers work. So at the heart of the program, we first start with the source code. This is the source code. We will take the case of a programming language like C, in which your program is created, which is purely a compiler based language, which uses a compiler to convert programs. So firstly, it goes into a part of the compiler known as preprocessor. So when it goes into the preprocessor does a multitude of tasks, like it will first remove the comment lines from the program. It will replace the macro with the macro statements. Now these are certain things which you are not familiar with, so I am not going deep into that. So it performs a series of tasks, and after this what we get is a program which has, suppose the name of the program here is hello.c. So now we get a program which is somewhat extended. That is, we get an extended code. I will use some other shape to represent code here. Extended code, and this extended code can be represented by the name hello.i. So this is an extended code which we get because there are lot many things, like certain steps are there which are replaced by multiple steps within the program. So because of this expansion, this code becomes extended. After extended code, the process goes to the next step, that is compilation. Now this compilation is in itself has a multitude of phases. There are various phases of compilation which we will be discussing a little later. So this step represents a multitude of various phases. So after this we get the assembly language code denoted by hello.s. So this is your assembly language code. So we get the assembly language code, which is in the form of mnemonics. So assembly language code is in the form of mnemonic codes, but it is still low level programming, because that is now what we have done is the high level language is converted into assembly level language, which will be having a one-to-one correspondence with the machine level language. Now this code goes into the assembler which changes the code into machine readable code, also known as object code. And this object code can be denoted by hello.o or hello.obj. Either one of the two. Okay. So it is converted into machine readable code. From this part, it again goes into a phase where it is converted into it is sent to a linker. Now what the linker does is, there could be other programs associated with this, that is library programs. we might be using certain features from standard library. What is a library? It is a collection of books. It could be a collection of CDs. So you just go there, you issue a book or a CD and you watch it. Okay. So library is a collection of various short programs which perform definite tasks. So we cannot create all the programs ourselves. So certain programs are there, like for example, calculating the tan of a value, or calculating the log of a value, okay, or finding out the power of values, a raised to the power b. So there are certain functions like this, sqrt, which calculates square root of a number, which are often needed. They are commonly needed, hence they are already pre-programmed and kept in libraries. Now we need to use these programs in our program which we are working, that is hello.c. Apart from this, we may also need other programs which is again brought to the linker, and at the linker our program becomes very big and it becomes hello.exe, which is actually, I will be writing it over here, it becomes an executable file. A very large expanded program, expanded version or inflated version of our original hello.c, which contains all the different expanded parts. Okay, all individual instructions are expanded and we get the executable file, which then goes to the CPU for processing. This is executed by the CPU. So this is the whole process of compilation. So I'll give you 30 seconds. Please take the screenshot of this. Okay. Now we move on to the main part, that is compilation. What exactly compilation does. So talking about compilation, here I am going to rub everything because I need the entire board. So talking about compilation, it starts from your source code. So here is your source code, and then this source code goes into a step known as lexical analyzer. The lexical analyzer, it first collects all the words, all the different constructs within a program. Okay, I'll give you an example of a simple Python, a simple C program. Suppose I have int a comma b, then I am writing C in A, C in B, that is read the value of A and B, then int C equals to A plus B, and then finally I will be printing the value. This is a C++ program, students. Okay, so here I'll be printing the value, that is C. So small program has been taken. So all its various constructs, that is, you can see each and everything is collected, and firstly a symbol table is created where all the symbols are collected, and then lexical analyzer works on it. It first makes a collection of all the words, then it goes to the next part, that is syntax analyzer. So what the syntax analyzer does is, the syntax analyzer will analyze the syntax of this program. Sometimes it may happen that somebody has written it like this, seen as this way, someone has skipped a semicolon over here, someone has written double equal to over here. Okay, so there could be certain such things that people have missed out on certain important symbols. So these symbols using the correct symbol at the correct place, it comes under the syntax rules or the grammatical rules of the language. Just like you have grammar in English and Hindi, and in order to form complete sentences which make sense, you need to have what? You need to follow the grammar of the language. So at this particular step, the grammar of the language is checked. Next is, it goes into semantic analyzer. What is semantics analyzer? You cannot write A plus B equals C. This is wrong. Sometimes it is like Sita plays guitar. Now, syntax wise, this is not wrong. That is, guitar plays Sita. But does it make any sense? No. This statement doesn't make any sense. That is the reason we have to first figure out whether the sentence which has been typed, whether it is making sense or not. So that is looked after by the semantic analyzer. After this, we go to the next step. Intermediate code generator. This is the part where the assembly language code is generated. Okay, and then from here we go to code optimizer. Code optimizer, and then we go to machine code generator. At this point, many libraries could be linked with it, many other programs could be linked. It will go to your linker and executable file will be created. So all these steps are handled by the compilation step. So we know that the compiler already converts a high level language program into assembly level language program. So at the end over here, we can keep the linker part for the later on. So at this point, what happens is code optimizer is used and it moves on to the next phase. So at the end of this particular, all these phases, you will be having assembly language code, that is object code. And from here, we also have an error handling routine. Now, error handler is connected to all these steps. Error handler is connected to all these steps. Now, what is error handler? When you execute a program, it first of all highlights all the errors, and basically those errors are all the syntactical or semantical errors in the program. So all those errors, first of all, the programmer is prompt to remove all those errors. Once those errors are removed, then it moves on to the next step. Then only it will convert it into object program, and then from object program it will convert it into the exe, that is executable program. So your compiler reads the program in one go. It reads the complete program in one go. It highlights the errors, prompts the programmer to remove the errors, and once the errors are removed, then it will convert the entire program into object code. From object code, it will be converted into executable code, which will be executed by the CPU, and finally it will generate the result, that is the output. So once a program has been compiled and it has been converted into exe code, you don't need to compile it again, provided that you are not making any changes into your program. If you make any changes in the program, you will have to edit it and you will have to again recompile it, that is perform all these steps. So with this we complete with compilers. In our next offline class we will study about interpreters. Thank you.
Maybach music. Can anybody out there hear me? Hear me?